You ever have a Monday where you step outside with your coffee expecting to see maybe a squirrel, or if you're lucky, a deer, and instead you get two strangers in matching polo shirts holding clipboards like they're about to sell you a new religion? Yeah. That was the day I learned, even if you build your house with your own two hands, someone out there thinks they've got a better claim to it, usually armed with paperwork and a smug smile. But let's rewind so you get the picture. I'm Jeremy. I spent 15 years working for the Bureau of Land Management. 15 years, mind you, wrangling maps, fending off developers, and dealing with every flavor of land dispute you can imagine. So when I finally bought my own little 1.66 acre slice of Colorado, I knew what I was doing. Surveyed it myself, ran the boundary lines, filed every piece of paper, locked it all down so tight, even a mosquito would need a permit to cross. There's this ridge, red rock, wind-scraped far enough from the nearest subdivision that I could sit on my porch, watch the sun spill over the valley and not hear a single lawnmower. That's peace. That's why I picked it. And yet on that Monday, here come the Polo twins from Pine Grove Estates Homeowners Association, reflective vests, official letters and faces that say, "We've already decided how this ends for you." The older one hands me an envelope all serious. "You have 10 days to remove all unpermitted structures from this land," he says, like he's serving justice, not junk mail. I just stare at him. I mean, you ever get a piece of news so stupid you're not sure if it's a joke? I actually laughed. Short, sharp, probably more bitter than funny. This isn't your jurisdiction, I tell them. My permits were pulled 5 years ago. House built before their HOA was even a glint in a developer's eye. This land never not once part of Pine Grove. They had a script, of course. If I thought there'd been a mistake, I could file an appeal, but demolition's still scheduled unless I comply. And just like that, they're gone, leaving me holding a demolition notice like it's radioactive. Inside, I spread their paperwork across my table. Standard scare tactics list of violations, some nonsense about architectural guidelines, and then this map. A map that suddenly claims my house is smack in the middle of Pine Grove's new boundary, stamped and certified by the county, supposedly amended just 2 months back. But see, here's the thing, I know these hills better than I know my own reflection. I dug out every old survey, the deed, the county zoning overlays. Not one of them agrees with this updated map. But this one had an official county stamp, meaning someone in the recorder's office signed off. So I drive into town, 20 minutes of gravel and anger. At the county office, Gwen's behind the desk. Gwen's a lifer. She's seen it all. When I show her the letter, she's as surprised as I am. She digs up the latest map, puts it beside the one I filed when I bought the land. And there it is, my lot, BR102, has shifted. On the new version, the HOA's boundary line takes a sudden jog uphill, swallowing my whole property. The old one ends at Ridge Creek, clear as day. At the bottom in tiny print is a signature F. Craig. I know that name. Freddie Craig, once a contractor with the BLM, now freelancing for developers who like their paperwork a little, let's say, flexible. Gwen admits the map was rushed through no public hearing, just a notation on the monthly batch. It smells like a backroom deal. I thank Gwen, make high-res copies of everything, and head back to my truck. I won't lie, sitting there in the parking lot, it hit me 10 days. 10 days to erase everything I built, just because someone decided my home looked good on their development plan. That night I didn't sleep. You ever try to rest knowing someone's coming to take what's yours, armed with a fake map and some corporate muscle? Doesn't work. So I did what I know best. I printed every document, organized them into a binder, highlighted every bit of evidence that proved my case. Then I called the county, asked for Jason Epps, the guy Gwen said greenlit the map. No answer. So next morning I show up in person. His office is the kind of place that tries too hard to look important, motivational posters, shiny desks. He's with someone, but I don't wait. I walk right in. I show him my binder flipped to the page where my property line got corrected. He gives me the runaround recent correction to subdivision boundaries. He says like those words mean anything to someone who's spent years on the ground, not just behind a desk. I lay it all out. That's not a correction, that's a redraft. You shifted property lines approved by Freddie Craig, the same guy who's been booted from 2 counties for this exact scam. And by the way, he's the developer's pet, now working with Pine Grove's partner. Jason's face goes a shade lighter. He tries to bluff. I hit him with more. The new GPS coordinates don't match the land, the stake is in the wrong place, the map is garbage. I'm filing a complaint with the state surveyor with the DA, I tell him. And if you so much as touch a file before the audit, you're complicit. This binder's going to the press and a retired judge by sunset. He tells me that won't be necessary. I tell him it's not up to you anymore. I leave him sitting there staring at a wall that says, honest growth, transparent process. The irony, right? Back home, I get to work. I install trail cameras, one on the main entrance, two down by the base of the hill, all feeding into cloud backups. If they try anything sneaky, I'll have it on video. I start digging into Freddie Craig. Turns out he's got a habit, recently filed 2 more boundary changes, both helping HOAs grab land. In both cases, landowners appealed, but the appeals went nowhere. The trick they called the map changes corrections, not amendments, skipping all the hearings. But then I see something else. Freddie made a hefty campaign donation to a county commissioner who just happens to chair the zoning committee. You don't have to be Sherlock Holmes to smell the rot. I send every scrap of this to a friend, Danny Salazar, a field reporter who owes me a few favors from our old BLM days. She calls right back, says I'll be there tomorrow with a drone and a producer. If you ever need someone to broadcast a fight, find yourself a Danny. She shows up next morning, boots on, no nonsense. Travis, her producer, launches the drone. We walk the property. I show her the landmarks, the original survey, stakes the evidence. She gets it all on camera, interviews me with the binder in my hand, documents everything. That afternoon, I write a cease and desist letter addressed to the HOA President Mallory Phelps. I cite every statute I can find, property rights, trespassing, fraudulent claims. Attach copies of every document, even a note from the previous owner swearing he never signed off on joining an HOA, and I deliver it myself. Walk right into their welcome center, lay the envelope on the counter, and tell the receptionist, hand this to your president today. Any unauthorized access to my land is now criminal trespass. On my way back, I check my cameras and catch 3 men in vests standing just outside the tree-lined clipboard, rangefinder, and walkie-talkie. Not on my land, but close. Too close. They stay 10 minutes, point mutter, then vanish. I save the footage, tag the time, send it to Danny. 6 hours later, it escalates. A flatbed truck hauls up a yellow bulldozer, then another brings an excavator. 4 men, hard hats, arguing over a tablet. I don't hesitate. I grab my phone, my binder, and march down there. Stop right there, I yell. They look at me startled. We're contractors authorized by Pine Grove. Not on my land, you're not, I say, and hold up a copy of the temporary restraining order I filed that morning, thanks to a sympathetic judge who'd seen this game before. Set 1 foot on my soil, I'll have you in court by sundown. Cameras are live feeds going to 3 locations, including the sheriff's office. They turn back, but they don't leave. They idle just beyond the fence line waiting. I double my security. Floodlights. More cameras. I stop sleeping, get good at staying awake. You ever watch trucks idling and the dark engine's off, but you can feel them thinking it wears on you? One morning, I'm rifling through old utility schematics and spot something, a pipeline, temporary HOA line water access. Years ago, a couple guys from Pine Grove asked if they could run a bypass through the edge of my land just for the summer. They brought beer and donuts. I never signed a thing, but I let them dig. Stupid, right? I hop on my ATV ride down to the Cedar Grove and find the meter box. Sure enough, HOA's still using my land for water. Line's wet. Their pipe's my property. So I write another notice, legal this time, saying I'll cut their water supply in 72 hours unless they back off. Hand deliver that too. An hour later, my phone rings. It's Mallory Phelps. You're threatening community utilities, she snaps. Not a threat, I say, just notice. You're trespassing. Pull your demolition order and restore the boundary, or your water's gone in 71 hours. You can almost hear her teeth grinding. You don't understand what you're messing with. You're in the way of our master plan. Funny, I say nobody invited me to that plan when you forged the maps. Now here's where the twist comes in. My neighbor Jason, quiet guy, with a beat-up RV shows up. He's nervous. Says his sister works admin for the HOA. She told him they're talking about private security emergency enforcement like they already own my ridge. And the president, she's lost it, ranting about making an example out of me, calling me a squatter. I ask if anyone recorded it. Nope, they collect phones now. So I get creative. Launch my own drone, park it near the clubhouse during their meeting, shotgun mic on. I catch Mallory mid-speech. If we lose this fight, others will start resisting. The house has to go. If we have to bulldoze it in the middle of the night, so be it. We are taking that land. I saved the audio grin for the first time in weeks. Now I've got something more than paperwork. Next morning, I'm out of the courthouse, USB, stick in hand, heart pounding. I give the recording to a clerk I trust, file an emergency complaint with the county prosecutor, Forward it all to Danny and a couple local news outlets. By midday, the story's everywhere. HOA threatens to bulldoze veteran's house. He fights back with receipts. Local blogs, then advocacy sites, then regional news. That's when the black SUV shows up parked halfway down my road just out of reach. I call the sheriff. Unless they're trespassing or threatening you, we can't do much. Classic. That night, I cut the HOA's water supply. Not just closed the valve, capped it, sealed it, took photos, time-stamped everything, uploaded it all. Morning comes and a new work crew shows up, no HOA logos, just white trucks and hard hats. They set up cones at my border. The foreman tries the same old line. We've been authorized. I cut him off. You're on private land. Criminal trespass. Here's a court order. Sheriff's on speed dial. He hesitates, glances at the paperwork, then calls it off. Truck's gone in 15 minutes. Danny returns that evening, camera rolling. We go over everything and I start digging even deeper into the digital trail. Turns out the revised map from the HOA, the signatures don't line up, digital anomalies, metadata missing, copy-pasted signature blocks. Amateurs. I'm not just fighting for my home anymore. This is a full-on criminal conspiracy. By the weekend, the emails start rolling in. Retired surveyors, lawyers, even a guy from the state mapping authority. One sends a transcript from a planning board meeting 3 years ago, mentions my parcel by name as future shared space. The plan was set in motion long before the paperwork ever changed. I've got the timeline. I've got the proof. I send it all to my lawyer, Grant Ellison, ex-military bulldog, loves a good fight. He tells me they forged state maps. This is criminal, not just civil criminal. The HOA's lawyers send me a cease and desist. I send it to Grant. Admission of engagement. He laughs. They just made your case. Regional News airs a segment, drone footage, real versus fake property lines. A zoning expert says if this is legit that HOA president just confessed to conspiracy, that's when the state gets involved. Auditors show up at Pine Grove's office. Permit activity is frozen. A few days later, an agent from the Office of Land Integrity knocks on my door. We spend hours going over everything. He tells me, you're not paranoid. You're prepared. He leaves with a drive full of evidence. Then I get an anonymous email, a Google Drive link. Drafts of the map month by month. Early versions, my land's outside. The latest, I'm boxed in. But the signature block is a direct copy-paste pixel for pixel. Forgery clear as day. I send it all to Grant, to the agent, to Danny. By next morning, it's everywhere, national news. Board members resign. Mallory's name and face are broadcast in full color. The county marshal arrests her. She's charged with fraud, forgery, abuse of authority. 3 weeks later, I'm in court. The judge reads out every charge. They bring in a contractor who admits he was told the land was already acquired. Grant's paperwork, my footage, it's enough to sink them. The verdict, HOA dissolved. Fraudulent maps voided. Civil protections reaffirmed. My property safe officially and publicly. Mallory gets house arrest, probation, a massive fine, and a lifetime ban from any administrative role. She sells her house, moves away. I go home. Reinforce my boundaries. Update the sign, private property not affiliated with any HOA. All maps subject to public review. Neighbors stop by. Some bring questions, some just want lemonade and to hear the story. Here's what I learned: sometimes the monsters aren't monsters at all. Just people who think no one will ever stand up and fight back. They think paperwork is power until you show them receipts. Now I gotta ask you, where do you draw the line? When is standing your ground just stubbornness? And when is it the only way to keep what's yours? Ever had someone try to steal something right out from under you thinking you wouldn't notice? Tell me. I'd love to hear how you handled it. Because sometimes you don't need a map to find the truth. You just need the guts to call a bluff.